I'm Brandon from period 5, and this is my physics project. I will be testing what effects shapes have on rotational motion and torque. What is torque? Torque is a measure of how much a force acting on an object causes that object to rotate. For example, opening a bottle cap or turning a steering wheel are examples of torque. On the other hand, rotational motion can be defined as the motion of an object around a circular path. An example would be a Ferris wheel or Earth rotating on its own axis. I think if objects with different shapes but same mass were rolled down a hill, the ones with more corners or sides will have a higher level of torque and rotational motion. In this project, I used Play-Doh to make the shapes. I used a plank to mimic a hill. I used a weigher to weigh the Play-Doh, and I also used a ruler to measure the shapes. The procedure is as following. The object is placed on top of the plank and then let go without using any force. The trial ends when the object hits the floor. As we can see, my hypothesis was at least somewhat correct. Something that is important and will become relevant very soon is that in our experiments we discovered that the torque for all shapes were the same. The only difference that these shapes had was the amount of time it took for them to reach their destination. The triangular prism came in last with an average of 0.6 seconds. The cuboid came in second, with an average of 0.43 seconds. Woohoo! And the fastest was the cylinder, with an average of 0.4 seconds. Some possible errors in my experiments were that the Play-Doh could have been not perfectly shaped, which could have affected how the objects performed. Another possible error could have been me not centering perfectly the objects when I was placing it on the plank. Now it's time to reflect on our findings. If the torque wasn't varied, then why were some shapes faster than other shapes? The answer is friction. The shapes were supposed to have the same finishing time, but didn't. They should have because of their radius size. All shapes had a radius of 1 centimeter, yet other shapes finished slower. This is due to shapes with few sides. The fewer the sides, the greater the contact area, which means the greater the frictional force applied is. This causes the shape to slip and vary in speed, and that is why some shapes do have a big impact on torque and rotational motion. To conclude, if I could change anything I did during this test, I would change the substance I was working with. Play-Doh is a very annoying substance to work with. It is very uncontrollable and messy. Thank you and have a nice day. Because the triangular cylinder, what the